For our last example on sum and difference formula, we're going to look at tangent of 75 degrees. And tangent of 75 degrees is asking us to find 75 degrees first is not on the unit circle, so I know for sure that I can't just find the value based off of my knowledge of the unit circle in the way that I had done before. So what I do is I try to break down 75. Can I find 75 degrees and rewrite it as a sum of two different angles that are found on the unit circle? The fact that it ends with a 5 probably has a 45-degree angle in it. So if you subtract 45 from 75, you get 30. So we have tangent of 75 is the same thing as the sum of 45 and 30, tangent of 45 plus 30. So we're going to go ahead and look up the sum formula for tangent. And you can find that on top where we had it summarized above there. And as I'll rewrite the formula, but you have tangent of your first angle, 45, plus tangent of your second angle, 30, all over. So if it's the sum on tangent, it's a sum on the top, whereas it's a difference on the bottom. So 1 minus tangent of 45 times tangent of 30. And then from there, we just evaluate all the trig functions. So tangent of 45 degrees is positive 1. We're in the first quadrant. Tangent of 30. Do you guys remember the trick I showed you? 30 degrees is the same thing as pi over 6. And if it's 6, then what adds up to 6 is 3 and 3, or 1 plus radical 3 over 3, where the 3 plus the 3 is 6. Okay, so just something that doesn't make sense, but is a quick way for me to remember what tangent of pi over 6 is. And then we have 1 minus tangent of 45 is 1. And then tangent of 30 is, again, root 3 over 3. So once you have the values on top, you can reuse the same values. Okay, so if you remember back to a complex fraction, this is a complex fraction. We have a fraction on top, a fraction on the bottom. So what we do is we're going to get rid of the fraction within a fraction by multiplying by your denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply the whole thing by 3 on top, and then the whole thing on the bottom by 3. So that means you're going to take the 3 and distribute it to each one of the terms inside. So we get positive 3. For the second fraction, you have that the 3's cancel out, so plus radical 3 all over. And same thing, you have two terms. You're going to distribute the 3 to the 1 and the 3 to this fraction. So we get 3 minus radical 3. Then if you remember back to the fact that you have a fraction but with a radical on the bottom is not allowed. So we're going to rationalize the fraction by multiplying by the conjugate. So all that stuff comes back. The conjugate, if you forgot, is you take the bottom and then you adjust the sign in the middle so that we can get rid of the radical by multiplying by its conjugate, which is 3 plus radical 3. So the opposite in sign in front of the radical. And then FOIL from there, or double distributes. So from there on the top, I have 3 times 3 is 9. Radical 3 times, so you guys are multiplying 3 to 3 and then 3 to radical 3. So we have 3 rad 3 plus another 3 rad 3. And then rad 3 times rad 3 is 3 all over. The bottom is nice. It's a difference of squares. So when you multiply, you get 9. The middle terms cancel out. Negative rad 3 times positive rad 3 is minus 3. So if we simplify the top, 9 plus 3 is 12. 3 plus 3 rad 3 is 6 rad 3. You can add like radicals divided by 6. We can reduce this because we can factor out a 6 from the top to get 2 plus radical 3 all over 6. And now my common factor 6 cancels out and I get 2 plus radical 3. And that is my final simplified answer.